You're welcome back. This is Newsfile, your most authoritative news analysis show. And today is supposed to be the NDC's day. And we'll be going to Baba Yara Sports Stadium to find out what is going on by this time. And as you know, some 70 persons have put themselves up for various positions, chairmanship, general secretary, and the rest of them will do look at that in a short while. Thank you very much for your contribution.
There's a little rule
let me quickly go. Let me quickly go to the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. Gifty Andoapia is on the line with the president. What's going on? Hello, Gifty. Okay. We understand that President John Mahama is at the venue of the Congress now, and something very interesting must be going on. So we'll link up with our, guys on the field, reporters there, to bring you up to speed what is going on there. Let's speak briefly. Okay. Yes, Gifty, let's hear you. What's going on now? I'm seeing in the pictures.
President John Dramani Mahama, who has arrived few minutes after the arrival of the Vice President Kofi Adams, Mr. Arthur, and we are expecting that once the President and his Vice have arrived, the program should kickstart. One person we're expecting, though, is leader or founder of the party, Flight Lieutenant General John Rawlings. We have him on our list here as one of the dignitaries who will be addressing the members here. But if you can see in your background, it is an ecstatic crowd, of course. Although there still seem to be pockets of spaces in the stands, there still looks like quite a number of delegates have already arrived, and the President Mahama is now, well, enjoying, if you like, enjoying the anthem of the NDC right there on the day. Well, with the President's arrival, the program should kickstart very soon, and we are expecting the President to address the people, of course. Some of the issues, well, of course, education will be highlighted. We expect that he will talk about the energy issues, because these are issues that have come up really dauntingly, if you like, and we expect that they will also talk, we expect that he will also talk about water issues, of course, and all the national issues, corruption that have come up. We expect that the President will address the people. But for now, though, we're all set here. Everything is set. Security has been tight, and we've been speaking to the security personnel. They've assured us that security has been tight. Indeed, it was tight for us because it wasn't easy for us coming in without accreditation. A few issues that we had earlier on. As you can see, it seems that the program is really set to begin. And our handover.
Thank you very much, Gifty Andoapia. She's there at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium with the host of the Joy FM and Multi TV, reporters Evans Mensah, Elton John Brobe, Emmanuel Ante. They are all there ready to bring us everything that is going on there as far as the NDC's Congress is concerned. Now, let me hear briefly from you, gentlemen. Kuku? It is the expectation that they would come out of this Congress united, more united than they probably are at this moment. What do you think is likely to happen, considering the mudslinging that's gone on as far as the campaigning has been?
Well, confronted with a challenge of a determined opposition, and I mean opposition, I'm not talking one party, okay, to ensure that there's a certain transfer of power. I don't see how, regardless of all these noises, attacks on each other, they will not combine to run an election. I do not see the party disintegrating. And I also see them making an effort to resolve whatever pre-Congress, differences. They'll overcome that. It's not the first time. They've even had situations where some left the parties. They've learned. Those who left rejoined. So I think it's built a certain culture for them to realize that exiting is not the best option. I see them coming out of it united.
The chairmanship, will Kobner J retain it?
I'll be surprised if he does. From the way I see things.
Who's your money on?
There's a wave of sentiment asking for change, in many respects. And to that extent, I think he will be a casualty. I can see.
Uduyaya, Potofi, who are you looking at?
I don't think. I think Kofi Potofi. This is just a guesswork I'm doing. I'm not, for that matter, endorsing him. But I think what I hear and what I see on the ground, he may come on top. You know, Uduyaya appears to have lost the plot because people don't want to have a chairman coming from the same region with the presidential flag bearer. And already I'm told the women's organizer is from the north, the youth organizer is also from the north. We're talking here regional balance, not ethnicity. Yeah, so that's the way I see it.
Okay.
You know, the real tough area is the national organizer. Yes. Until yesterday, my view was that I would be surprised if Kofi Adams won. But subsequent to my expression of that view, on Thursday rather, others have come to me with some indicators that may show that things are swinging in favor of Kofi Adams. That would be quite an interesting.
And between himself and the incumbent?
Yes, that would be very interesting if it happens. You know, that would be very, very, very interesting. I really thought Yao Jan was quite entrenched, and having the support of the General Secretary or so, I was thinking, but it's not looking too good for Yao Jan. You know.
Well, very interesting. Godwin, you know Johnson Resident Ketia has been contested?
Yes, I do.
You've not heard much about the Farrakhan guy, right?
Not much.
Okay.
But I've heard something about his candidature.
You think he's just adding to the numbers for the sake of it?
Well, that seems to be the dominant view.
You're not giving it the slightest of thought that there could be a surprise from that guy?
Not really. I mean, unlike in the case of the chairman, where, I mean, you have a lot of people expressing the need for there to be some level of dynamism. In the case of the General Secretary, I think the party seems settled that his position, I mean, is okay for now. But sometimes these things, you cannot overrule anything. But I don't think that the gentleman would significantly, I mean, shake the General Secretary, the incumbent General Secretary.
You're saying significantly, meaning he can do something?
Of course, if he gets a vote, that's something. But, but significant has to register a presence, even if, I mean, he loses. That's what I mean. I mean, I don't think he will be able to make that presence.
Okay. Eric, what do you see in terms of Ofosu-Ampofo, who is looking forward to become one of the vice chairpersons, right? Ofosu-Ampofo, Betty Modidwisu is there. We know of Anita Disoso, who is also there, and a few others. He's come public to say that there's too much money in the process, and that could affect the party in 2016.
Well, I think that to start with, the MPP definitely would wish the NDC well. I know that the National Executive, headed by the General Secretary, Mr. Kwabena Agyapong, will be there to give a solidarity message. But then that notwithstanding, I think that the call, I think it's not even come from just Honorable Ofosu-Ampofo, but it's come from a few other contestants, basically alluding to the fact that there's a lot of cash being thrown about during this process. And then one would ask, where is this money coming from? Now, you would realize that apart from that, there's a topic that I'm sure we're going to come to, whereby you have individuals who basically you have board chairman of the GET Fund, who is the national chairman as we speak. You have the NADMO chairman. You have people that are on board, BRI authority and all that. All
What's new about that? What's new about that?
No, my point is that all involved in a process. And then we find ourselves in a situation whereby the European Union is actually withholding donor funding to us based on the fact that people have basically...
Maybe you should come to my question now. What's new and what's wrong about that?
No, my point is that, right, now this is the issue at stake now, so let's talk about it, right? What I'm saying is that there's definitely some kind of conflict of interest whereby you have public officials actually actively engaged in political machinery. Now, there's definitely something wrong with that. I mean, your view is definitely welcome in terms of you're entitled to your opinion. But what I'm saying is that...
I just asked you a question,
right.
really.
What I'm saying is that there's definitely some kind of conflict of interest in this situation. Now, the fallouts from this particular election would be there for everybody to see, whereby there's even been allegations that there's a tape as to exactly what happened during the demise of the late President, Professor Mills. And these are things that has come up. And I'm sure that as time goes on, the good people of this country would want to find answers to some of these questions that actually come up. And then, of course, if we find ourselves in these dire economic straits, circumstances, and the NDC government and the government in power, as it were, we're supposed to be showing some kind of prudence and then modesty, is actually going out there to lavish all these resources on a Congress. I mean, I'm sure it's a question that would have to be answered come 2016. But that notwithstanding, we wish them well. For us in the MPP, we are poised, regardless of who is chosen. I'm sure that the track record of the NDC government itself would hold sway for us when we come to 2016.
You've also been watching, of course, you're interested in knowing who will emerge as leaders of the NDC because you'll be facing them in 2016.
Something I have to say that, firstly, we need to, all of us, wish the NDC well in their internal democracy. It serves our democracy as a nation, you know, and our General Secretary, Mr. Albert Greenstreet, indeed, will be there to deliver a solidarity message. But you have to ask whether the ordinary person on the street today is really perturbed about who becomes chairman, who becomes general secretary, given their personal situation. Coming to Christmas where they know that they may not be able to find a square meal or be able to deliver for their children, etc.
Or they'll be sleeping in darkness.
Or whether they'll be sleeping in darkness, etc. So you have to ask yourself whether everybody's glued to the process. You know, is it going to be is it going to be whether the ordinary man on the street really is concerned about whether any of these characters, any of these people will transform the fortunes of their party or indeed the fortunes of the nation and then the fortunes of they and their family.
Should they be concerned?
I think
concerned?
I think they know that none of these people will be able to transform, whoever is elected will be able to do anything which will transform their lot. They understand that. And the despondency is even within the NDC itself. I mean, when Dan Abodekwe talks about, you know, the grassroots have been demoralized, we agree with him. They have demoralized themselves, and they have demoralized the nation. They have a situation where they've overwhelmed, the NDC has overwhelmed itself, and they've overwhelmed the nation, underwhelmed the nation. They've underwhelmed themselves, and they've underwhelmed the nation. And we are in a situation where there are many in the NDC today who perhaps thought that the NDC was a progressive force. Now they know that this is an organization that will sign up to GMO to inflict harm on the people of Ghana. This is a government that will introduce the PBB, the Plant Breeders Bill, which will emasculate, if you like, our farmers. It will undermine our sovereignty. This is a government that signs up to the EPA, which will lose 40,000 jobs. This is a government that will go to the IMF and inflict even further pain on the people of this country. So there are many people in their party who are demoralized. They are demoralized because they know that this is a government which is not a progressive government. They are now coming to that conclusion. And we therefore see a situation where there are many who will be there, but actually they are not sure who to vote for because the outcome will be the same policies, the outcome will be the same old path. The outcome will continue to be...
I'm not sure there will be many who will be there who are not sure who to vote for, as far as the NDC as a party is concerned.
There are some who will ponder whether
but tell me this.
the TV that's delivered to them as
tell me this, in respect of the General Secretary, those who are going for the General Secretary, who is your money on? Kofi Adams, I said General Secretary. Deputy General Secretary, Kofi Adams, Kojo Edu-Asare, and the current...
I'm not putting money on anybody.
George Lawson.
I'm not putting money on anybody. Frankly, I don't think whoever emerges will make a difference to what the issues are. And it's not up to me, it's up to NDC delegates to make their choice. It's not for me, a CDP person, to decide that I think it should be this person. I don't have to, I don't need to. I'm not frankly concerned. My concern is whether any of them will be in a position to transform the policies of this nation, whether they will be able to turn the NDC into a decolonizing party or remain a SAP party or whatever. So, you know.
Yes. Well, I've spoken to you on this already, haven't I? But for those who are going for the Deputy General Secretary, who do you think is the most likely? Some say Kofi Adams is strong. Others say Kojo Asare might also pull a surprise, really. But George Lawson has also been there. He was together with Kofi Adams, who left the job.
There are a number of tendencies in the party which will play out in the choices that the delegates will be making. One will be looking for dynamism, action-oriented individuals, and there's also another tendency that we're looking for moderation. Now, it depends. The delegates will be looking at what position do we need a particular trait. If you're talking about the General Secretary, he is already a dynamic individual, and some will be looking for another dynamic person to support him.
Okay, I ask you about Deputy General Secretaries, but limited to there, and you talk about moderation. Will Kojo Adams represent moderation and George Lawson represent moderation, but Kofi Adams will not?
Well, from my own observation, Kofi Adams looks a little bit, active compared, more active, than the others. But that doesn't necessarily, mean that he will emerge. I'm only saying that there is that group that will be looking out for him. So he's also a person who has worked with the former president very well, and he appears to be using that as a trump card. Perhaps thinking that there is such love for the former president, which perhaps will also trickle down to him. We'll see how that works out. But the others also, have their strengths. Asare, is making the case of having taken the constituency, the identity constituency from an incumbent party, and he claims he nurtured it, and it has subsequently been taken over by the NDC, and that he is a grassroots person. So all those things will play out.
He has and helped sponsor, presidential elections by paying for billboards.
So those are considerations that people will be looking at. But of course, when it comes to things like this, concepts like I am a grassroots person, I'm a people's person, become readily available to use. Whether those using them really believe in them or are committed to them is another matter.
Okay. Now, Koku, back to you again. Briefly on Kofi Adams. Some say that the weight of the former president he works for might work against him, including the issue of the tape that Eric referred to, which Boateng Jan appeared to have brought up. But some say, but for the propaganda value, there's nothing in it.
Yes, I'm not too sure if Boateng Jan's reference to the tape was the recollection of the Kofi Adams tape, the one in a conversation with Gabi.
Yeah, sorry.
I think there's an extension.
Sorry, yeah, I was with President Mills.
Yeah. Yes. But that particular Gabi Kofi Adams conversation tape, if you like, they subjected it to some inquiry. Kofi Adams was suspended prior to the and reinstated, and they gave us public information to the effect that he had been cleared. So I really don't see why during primaries you go and resurrect that and use it against the person.
It's like somebody went to court.
Yes.
And that was going to be the plank of his argument.
Yes.
That he is not loyal to the party.
Yeah, but that would have been difficult to deal with in court. On what basis was the court going to determine loyalty? And is it even a basis? Justice Yabo, what is it? Yeah, for the court. That's why you say, you the lawyers.
That's for the party.
So that's a non-issue. And I believe the case was withdrawn.
Yeah, he withdrew it.
Yes.
The next day. He filed it today, the next day he withdrew it.
Issues of loyalty. The Mills thing that came in, I thought was disgusting. It was very much in bad taste. Whatever Boateng Jan wanted to say, it didn't come out well. But it provided ammunition for even family members of the late president to come out and ask for an inquiry, and I found that in very bad taste, and why it should become part of primaries. No, but it's the nature of primaries here. It cuts across the political divide.
Okay, so the crux of what he sought to say with the President Mills was that he might have been murdered by some people for a certain political purpose.
But that was an outrageous thing to say. If indeed that is true, and if he had this knowledge, what had he been doing all this time? He ought to have been reporting to the police way back. And especially in the wake of the demise of the president, there were all sorts of speculations and rumors and things. My position was for us to look at how, when he collapsed, the kind of system that was in place and how he was taken to hospital and those things. And when he got to the hospital, what happened? Looking at a bigger picture, that we will have presidents and presidents and presidents. So what kind of medical facilities do we have in place at presidential palaces and all the rest? I wasn't looking at any possibility of somebody have deliberately murdering him because I didn't have any such evidence. And I think it's outrageous to speculate in that direction when you can't provide anything of evidential value to back it. It doesn't help anybody. But if in the course of their primaries such an element has been brought to the fore, then honestly, I don't know, I caution the NPP not to get involved because there was an NPP member of parliament who said an Akufo presidency
will investigate it.
It was complete nonsense as far as I'm concerned. There was no need for the party to get involved or even to speculate what an Akufo presidency will do with this kind of absurd, allegation. So it doesn't help Boatinjan, I'm being told so in the field, and somehow Kofi Adams, we are told, has the support from the presidency and all the rest, and it's looking like he's making waves. Yes, until Thursday morning, I had ruled him out, and I still thought Washington.
He's been issuing statements, and some say the statements can also be counterproductive, in which he discusses, at length, the questions of loyalty that have come up against him. Yeah, people say he's playing it up too much, and it can go against him.
That's marks of some level of inexperience, as far as I'm concerned, and it's an element that, yes, could be used against him at the Congress grounds, because the kind of thing you say, how you communicate is critical. But you see, Boatinjan has already messed it up with the Mills thing so seriously that it's not good enough for him, and so maybe, and there are only two, don't forget, because there are only two,
right?
Somehow that is what is giving Kofi Adams a certain edge. If maybe 3 or 4 can cut across and make Boatinjan slot through.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
I mean, I think that the irony of the whole situation is the fact that Boatinjan himself was embroiled in a saga about the same tape issues, whereby this actually bordered on national security stuff, whereby he was alluding to the fact that he can basically make sure that people are enlisted into the security agencies. Now, from us as a party, our perspective is that this whole internal election has actually brought to fore the kind of people that we're actually dealing with, whereby the subplots and there's all sort of national security implications in the stuff that they do and the way they carry about their business. And I'm sure that it's something that for us as a party, we'll definitely make sure that the good people of this country are aware of the kind of people that we're actually dealing with, the kind of personnel that actually forming this particular political party.
Okay, we'll return to the NDC again, and Dr. Bedasama, if you have heard him, he has suggested that the characters that are vying for the positions in the party are not competent but seeking for positions for personal benefits. We'll get to that as